Damn, Apollo, you crazy.
And that's why I hold my breath at times where I should speak up. That's why I say my health is bad when you wanna leak up. Cause the stress is hard to hide, but I move with pride and ride for my guys and die. Know that I'm a blessed times, but know that I'm out here trying.
Yeah, I made it out that mud, made it out that dirt. Going harder for my dreams while I'm still on this earth. Had to step into that mosque and step away from church. On my way back to Allah and all that I deserve. Had to pay up for my sins, lessons that I learned. Had to give and sacrifice before my life was turned. And now I know that 90 bitches made me more than merch. And I keep pushing to the end even though it hurt. I'm just trying to find my way out. Way out. I'm just trying to find my way out. Way out. I'm just trying to find my way out. I'm just trying to find my way out. Way out. Cause when I lost my dog, I thought it was the end. When Trevor lost his life, it was just the beginning. When I see Frankie fall, I couldn't fucking breathe. Lord, why'd you take my dogs and leave the pain with me? Cause I've been fighting back these tears, Lord. No longer feel my death, but only feel God. I watched them turn to angels, now they watching over me. That pain will fade away, my only choice is to succeed. With Apollo, I'ma take off to the moon. See my dogs in the sky, I'll be coming home soon. Taking my shot, and now that life is so new. Knew I would make it out doing what I'm supposed to. I'm just trying to find my way out. Way out. I'm just trying to find my way out. Way out. I'm just trying to find my way out. I'm just trying to find my way out. Way out.
Try to move with pride and ride for my guys and die. Know that I'm a mess at times, but know that I'm out here trying.
What's going on, everybody? How we doing out there? October 23rd, 2024. Just hanging out. Dave, you're here. And the man that was making some noise over there with the music in the intro, we're pumped to have LA Meek hanging out with us. Brother, what's going on?
What's going on, guys? It's good to see you guys and be back on the show again.
Absolutely. We love having you back on, man. And, you know,
Always
this
great
time,
having you on.
you're here to come and shoot the shit, talk about the news and things like that. We're here to get you in trouble with your fans, which I'm excited for. Always excited to fuck with that. David voted. David, you voted today. How'd that go?
Yes, I voted today. It was pretty good. It was a very simple process. So you just walk up, you give your ID, and then they tell you everything you need to do.
Wait,
so
hold on,
it's
hold on.
not difficult.
Hold up. You gave your ID?
Yeah, I actually gave my ID. I know it's surprising.
You knew how to find one? You knew how to find one? Like you knew like where to go?
I'm not going to make the joke.
You knew what to do?
I'm not going to make the joke.
Hold on, I'm just curious. Right, John, do you have ID? Meek, do you have ID?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
As he's driving, he's saying might not want to go there.
Meek is hanging out with us,
Dirty
driving
right
around.
now, yeah.
So we're gonna have some fun today, as we always do. I'm gonna do my quick preamble because we have. What's
So I'm drinking some ginger ale right now. Do you think there's some people that like soda enough that they'll like dip their cookies in soda?
Probably.
I'm sure there's somebody out there. It's people who suck on toes. So I'm sure somebody is dipping cookies in soda.
Thank you, X-Wing. Love you.
X-Wing just stopping into the quest at a shout out. Hope we have a great stream, X-Wing. We hope we have a great stream too. But we appreciate you jumping in.
It's most likely going to be mediocre to bad. So
you know what, X-Wing, you're not here. I mean, we have LA Meek hanging out, so it's going to get better because it's not just us two fucking it up. Mm-hmm. But you're not here, X-Wing, so it's going to be down a peg, but then brought up again because Meek's here. So we're going to figure out a way to get through the night. So Dave, you're disgusting. By the way, I feel like you're gonna be the person that tries the cookies and ginger ale.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Just ran through my mind for no reason, to be quite honest.
That's because you're fucking weird. All right, so let's go through our preamble real quick that I've been doing lately. Number one, the Epstein client list. We need to find it. We need people to come out and clamor and say we need to get that client list out in the open because there's too many people that are, about to fucking live their lives after being abused for so long by rich and powerful people on that island. So we need to make sure that we get those names out. So we need to demand that the client list is out there. Number 2,
Like a one-piece adventure trying to find it.
What, Dave?
What?
Go on an adventure? No, just fucking.
So it's like a one-piece adventure. You got to find our Luffy.
I mean, that would be amazing. I would go on a trip to go find it. That'd be fun. As long as I can get powers. Is there any fruit I can eat to just get cool powers?
Yeah, but then you can't swim. So you can't get to the island. You have to sail to the island. Holy shit.
I mean, we should make a parody. X-Wing, that's your new book. X-Wing! You and Drunk 3PO should
be Meek about to tear the house down. Y'all in good hands. That is correct. Meek.
Yes.
Meek's always great.
That would literally be the most insane, weirdly sexual adventure that anybody's taken ever before.
It would be fun, okay? It would be a great time. But, okay, so victims of Helene and Milton, keep them in your minds and make sure we keep on helping them. The hurricane ravaged 3 different states, Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina, 4 actually, because Florida as well got fucked up by Milton. So make sure not only do you keep them in your hearts and your minds that you are helping out how you can, choose a charity you enjoy. And I just say, you can just give $1. $1 helps. Because if you give $1, you convince all your friends to give $1. Keeps on going around. Then we got millions of dollars flowing in. So make sure you're doing that. Like I say, I always recommend mercury1.org. I love what they do. So if you can do that, and then we're going to keep it quick here. Everyone go out, work the election polls that you can, because we want to make sure. Dave, what are you smiling about? Because I said work the election polls.
No.
But no, go out and work the election polls. It's important that we get out there and we make sure that the election, if you want it to be free and fair and everything, you got to get out there and make it happen. And also go vote and vote early. If you could vote now, go do it to make sure that it counts. Here, I'm going to put it on them. LA Meek, you voting?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I got to vote this year. I'm still registered in North Carolina, so I got to renew my registration out here. But yeah, I think this year is an important year.
Good. I love it. Now, make sure you go look up when you can early vote, because I've been saying to everyone.
Early voted like a month ago in California. So.
Oh, in California, you probably started early voting the moment the 2020 election was done. They were like, hey,
yeah, exactly.
vote here. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I get lost in the times. I be so faded all the time. I don't be knowing what's going on, especially in politics. I be like, oh no.
So you're on the right show to get some politics. That's what we're going to talk about.
Look, that's why I'm here tonight, to get some knowledge. You know what I mean? Get some information and crack some jokes.
And I'm excited for your opinion too, because I'm, part of me, I love when we talk to people that are like-minded, but I hope sometimes you don't agree, and then you could talk about it and we can have a nice conversation about it, and I could fucking yell at you. No, I'm kidding. I'm not.
Yeah, too many times I'm yelling at Alex for when we.
That's my favorite part.
Just getting yelled at. So X-Wing coming in here. I'll stick with my own storyline for now, but shout out.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
It is. We can hang on to that one in our back pocket. So just so everyone knows, if Meek gets a little choppy, we may lose him. He's driving through the hills. So if we lose him, he'll be back. He's not going too far.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, Dave, let's get it rolling.
Oh, let's get it rolling. Okay.
Let's get it rolling.
So
do your job, Dave.
First thing on our docket is a big story from today. So a big piece in the Atlantic dropped, and I'm not going to give it much dignity because it's really a shit story. It's like one source that actually mattered, and then the other sources that were named said the thing never happened. But things happened around that story today, like Kamala Harris giving this 3-minute press conference where she calls Trump Hitler, and then that's it. She don't even answer questions. She just comes out, says that. We'll listen to a bit of it, but I did want to bring up Piers Morgan, who is not an American, but I don't really like him very much. But I think this sentence pretty prevalent. Kamala playing the Trump Hitler card is so lame. That's what it is. It's fucking lame. It's something that we've heard so many damn times before. It is a washed statement. Like it is something that no one fucking cares about anymore. But I'll play this for about a minute because I don't think there's really much in here, if I remember correctly from listening to it earlier. But I'll play this for about a minute.
The important part is that she calls him Hitler, and that's where we want to get to. So go for it.
Now, let's listen.
So yesterday we learned that Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired 4-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, and that's for about 3 fucking minutes. We don't need to listen to the rest of it, to be completely honest with you. But I'm actually going to jump to this real quick.
So real quick, Bobby Stevens, X-Wing told you to come here. What's up, Bobby
What's
Stevens?
up,
We
Bobby
appreciate
Stevens?
that.
Yes,
What
thank
up,
you.
Bobby?
I just want to share this real quick, just to refute her point immediately. Babylon B, Democrats explained Trump was going to be Hitler during his first term, but he forgot. And that's the big thing, is that he had all this fucking time to want Hitler's generals, to want all this stuff. He had 4 years of it. And in fact, his own generals decided to not listen to him when he wanted to move troops out of Syria. So there's very conflicting things happening here. And it's just another, to use Pierce's term, lame way to go against Trump. And it's really desperate, honestly, especially Kamala coming out to say this instead of Biden saying anything. Shows how afraid they are of Biden gaffing it up. But it's embarrassing. Real quick, I'll go to you, Meek, because we might be losing you soon if you're driving. But I'll go to you. What do you think of this so far?
Truly, anytime I see Kamala Harris, right, she reminds me of someone who is running out of things to talk about and make herself look good. So she begins to try to defame the next person's character. So with that being said, I don't really hear anything of value ever coming out of her mouth. So as of right now, I don't really have a lot of incentive to vote for her. But on that same note, I don't have a whole lot of incentive to vote for Trump either. So I think I'm going to go with my original idea and vote for Kanye West.
I fucking love that. But it is really funny hearing it from like a more normie perspective of, I don't think she has anything to say and she's not prepared, so she just shoves the blame somewhere else. That's fucking hilarious.
That's pretty much the case.
So a quick question. What did you think? Did you see that Obama was basically shaming black men for not voting for Kamala or thinking of not voting for her? Did you see that? Oh,
We might have lost him.
oh there he goes. He's kind of
one more time.
Did you see that Obama was shaming black men for not voting for Kamala or not wanting to vote for her enough? Did you see that he did that in like a town hall thing?
No, I didn't see, but I'm not surprised by that at all.
So would that sway you to want to vote for her that Obama told you need to,
Yeah.
or
not at all. That makes me not want to vote for her. If Obama was really black, he'd know that black people don't like to do what they're told to do. So I don't really know what the expectation is.
Accurate. Very accurate.
That is very accurate. I love it. So my thing that bothers me with this is they keep on going back to the narrative that Trump wants to use the military against American citizens. That is kind of like the big overarching thing, that he wants them to be loyal so then he can launch them on the citizens. And, you know, Meek, you said you're not going to vote for Trump, probably because you have no reason to, which is, you know, it's fine. But even if Trump gets in power again as the president, are you confident that he's going to unleash the military on you? Or do you think he's going to just do the same thing he did the first 4 years?
The only thing that Donald Trump can release on me is a stimulus package.
That is, I don't like the way you worded that. Look, there are a lot of Trump sexuals over on Twitter, but you just said something that got him going. I'm not going to lie to you.
Look, man, me and Trump go way back, man.
He's your dog?
That's my dog.
Also, shout out Big Rob coming in. So X-Wing said the place to be.
But
Listen,
when I say
X-Wing
he's my
says
dog,
to be
he's more of the dog that I keep in the cage.
Yeah, it might be for good reason with the way he goes after people sometimes.
I mean, he did talk about Arnold Palmer's dick at
Oh,
like
I
an
forgot about
extensive
that. I
way
forgot about that.
when during like 2 days ago, which was hilarious because he's a comedian, but also fucking weird.
It's
It was
fucking-
weird.
All right, let's round out this story real quick because there is a little bit more to it. So Shane McGuire over here on Twitter, he has a screen cap of the Atlantic article. The Atlantic article is being responded to by the sister of the service member that died, and Trump apparently complained about spending money on her funeral, according to the Atlantic article. But the sister responds to this article and says, "Wow, I don't appreciate how you are exploiting my sister's death for politics.
My
Her
brother's death.
respectful to the important changes she made for service members. President Donald Trump did nothing but show respect to my family and Vanessa. In fact, I voted for President Trump today." And then Sean just kind of rounds it out. This is evil reporting by the Atlantic, and it actually does look like that. And dear MSM, you will die if you keep doing this. And this has been a consistent message to MSM. They're not going to listen. I think he
The
knows.
mainstream media, by the way,
Yes.
for those that don't know. So here's the thing, too, and for those that don't know, the October surprise was that that they're trying to lay out that Donald Trump, there was a service member that passed away, and it was a Mexican service member, and Donald Trump openly said, and I don't know if I remember this, but it was during his presidency, that he said they're going to take care of the funeral prices and things like that. And the October surprise was that apparently they had filings, the Atlantic, that they exposed that he never paid for it. And apparently people in the know quoted him was like $60,000 for a fucking Mexican. Like, you don't need that to bury a Mexican, like trying to make him seem like the racist thing and that Trump hates Mexicans type of thing. And so this is the aftermath of that, where the sister, it's like, that never happened.
Yes.
I voted for the guy. So, and here's a question. And again, I really like this perspective, having you hear me, because like you said, me and Dave are political junkies. We're obviously conservatives. So for you, even say if something like this were true, that say Trump during the presidency said he was going to pay for it and said, fuck that guy, I don't want to pay $60K. Would that move the needle for you either way on whether or not you wanted to vote for him or not?
Kind of.
Okay.
I think it speaks somewhat to his character, just because as a man, you should stand by your word.
Agreed.
Whatever it is. However, as a businessman, sometimes you have to make the more business sound decision. And, many people should be aware that America is a business. I always like to say, like, it's the United States of America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one reason why I do kind of think that Donald Trump would be a good guy just for the position, because, I mean, the way things are now, we need someone in there who's going to make the hard decisions.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be willing to not be liked. Throughout this thing, even in the last race, like, Donald Trump never really cared if you liked him. Even when a guy tried to take his life away, he was just like,
Yeah.
And something I see from Kamala is her thing is more so like a popularity contest. So, I just pay attention to things like that, especially living out here in LA, because a lot of people are fishy, a lot of people are snakes, and a lot of people will try to throw the roses and the pretty things at you to hide the true intent behind everything. So,
So here's the thing: you're an entertainer, you're an artist, and you're in this industry all the time. So you have to basically, like you said, don't throw roses. You have to try and kind of fish through who's real, who's fake. Judging by what you've seen now, obviously Donald Trump has been in the limelight in this country at least since 2015 when he started running. So for a better part of a decade. Kamala's been around for a long time now too. She ran for president in 2020. She was a senator. If judging by the two, just based off what you see, who kind of comes off to you as more real and more authentic?
More authentic and real, Donald Trump.
You think that what he says is what he means for the most part? Like he's just real? He's just a G?
I don't think that what he says is what he means, simply because sometimes I don't think he uses the right words to
say 110%.
You're right. He gives no fucks.
He's very old man about shit. And maybe it's my brother and I, and you've been around our father. The man just says shit And he might not even know exactly what he's saying, but once you've been around him enough, you understand what he's actually saying, and you might correct him, or you might just go on knowing what the discussion's
think that's the
about.
relationship between Donald Trump and the American people, is that people just understand that, that's what he said, but
So with the rest of this situation, you got the report that he stiffed the family on the 60,000, but then you have the sister coming out saying that's not true. Yeah. Who are you more inclined to believe here, or does that now become a nothing burger that you have a member of the family saying it's not true versus a publication saying that they have this stuff?
Well, Nate also heard that Trump did the gritty on the soldier's grave, so
I would pay money to see Trump do the gritty.
At all.
Yeah, that's wild. If I ever saw that, I don't know, man.
Would that lock in your vote? We need to listen. We are friends with a Trump, but Pastor Scott's one of our buddies. If I texted Pastor Scott and said Trump would get millions of more votes if he just
hit the gritty real fucking quick, son.
What do you think, Meek? If he sat there and he did the gritty and openly did it at like one of his campaign rallies, would more people vote for him? Do you think?
For sure.
We got to go. All right, Pastor Scott, if you're watching this, we got to get in Trump's ear to go do the gritty. That'd be fucking awesome.
Trump hitting the great gritty is crazy work, man.
All right, I do want, because the framing of that was good, asking the question of whether or not it was real. How would that affect your vote? But the thing is, the story is obviously bogus, and I'm going to let Ryan James Gerdusky, someone who is formerly on the show.
Yep.
Very good at what he's doing going on CNN and MSNBC. He's been tearing them apart, to be completely honest. But I'm going to let him basically explain how this is ridiculous.
Part of this, Ryan, we bring you in here. There is a value in either planting seeds or undermining the media, or suggesting that you can't trust them and you can trust what I have to say, because I have a feeling that there are a number of voters who are hearing so many things about Trump. They're hearing the claims, they're hearing the statements, they're hearing about members of the cabinet saying no can do, no will do again. And then you hear Trump's campaign saying this is false. President Trump never said any of this. I mean, Trump, though, tonight praised authoritarian leaders, China's Xi, Russia's Putin. Listen to this.
Can you imagine what President Xi, I got to know him very well. He's a fierce
I got to start doing
individual.
the arms. You do that in one of your videos, Meek?
With an iron fist.
All the time. I'm like,
he's smart. Is he
yes.
smart? He's a smart man. He's a fierce man.
You got to stand up there at one point in front of a podium in your video and just do one of those.
People that are tough people.
Iconic moment.
Many people have an issue with appraising of any kind of either of these two leaders. Does the fact that he appears to have a strong affinity for those who are authoritarians in the leadership?
Here's the problem with this whole entire setup and why CNN keeps burying themselves. We talked to Ryan. Ryan is smarter than everyone fucking there.
Well, yeah, no, like I said, he's going to BTFO him real quick.
Ryan is smart as hell.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know things about politics. Ryan's forgot shit about politics more than I know. Mm-hmm. So it's like they hired the wrong guy if they were trying to look good. Go ahead, Dave.
Is that deniable at this point?
Well, in the clip you showed, he didn't praise them. He just called Xi smart, which is the only praise he gave them.
Well, it's not an insult.
It's not okay. Well, it's not, but it's not praise either, which is what you said it was, which it wasn't. But according to the Jeffrey Goldberg article, which we've talked about this entire night, you can't trust that article because the quote 60,000 for an effing Mexican funeral. The only two on-record sources both said that he didn't say that. The only source is an anonymous source, and the family of the deceased soldier said that he was lovely to them, and in fact, they voted for Donald Trump today. That's how much they disagreed, and they said it was a disrespectful article that politicized the death of their loved one. And Jeffrey Goldberg did not care about printing something that they had no sources on the record for. And I honest to God, like most Americans, do not care about General Kelly's farewell tour where he tries to make amends for working for Donald Trump. Since Democrats said we're going to run all these Republicans who work for Trump out of town unless they somehow make peace. So 2 weeks before Election Day, he runs to liberal journalist Susan Glasser about a conversation that allegedly happened 4 years ago. It doesn't pass a smell test. And that is why people are turned off to all of these stories. They remember Donald Trump's presidency for low inflation, jobs, peace through strength,
Stimulus checks, right, Roger?
controlled
Right,
borders.
me.
That's why they care. No one believes Jeffrey Goldberg and the article from a publication that's owned by one of Harris's donors.
Well, first,
So, Meek, what do you think about
Here's-
that? Now that you see what Ryan said, now Ryan's obviously on the right, so he's defending Trump there. What do you think about that over there?
I mean, truly, I feel like he hit it on the nose. Nobody really, or at least, yeah, nobody really cares about the truth. It's just about who presents it more entertainingly. You know what I mean? And right now, I feel like it's so easy to believe that Trump is this monster and that Trump is just all these things because, I mean, truth be told, nobody really knows him outside of what we've seen on TV and what we've heard. So, I think it's a bunch of hoopla. I think that while they're doing these things in an effort to sway the vote in Kamala's favor, it's actually doing the opposite because, like, and I don't want to sound like an idiot saying this, but like, again, like
we sound like idiots every night. It's
Yeah, this is what we do. You're in the right place, Meek.
black people don't really care about this kind of stuff, and like when we see that you're making an effort to silence somebody, when you're making such a huge effort to just be like, don't even look at this person, we look at that person even more. You know what I mean?
And you know what? I think that's not even just a black person thing for the most part. That's just a person thing, like an inquisitive person thing. If you're telling an inquisitive person no, they're going to sit there and go, well, why are you telling me no? Now I have to find out why you're telling me no. And, and I think that's just like something that now maybe, it in the black community, maybe it happens even more where it's like, motherfucker, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. But I mean, I think it's also a natural human inclination. It's like, why do kids drink a ton up until 21? And then once you hit 21, you could still hit the bottle, but now it's legal. It's not as, the risk is gone, right?
Yeah.
You might do it, but now you could do it fine. So it's not as big of a deal. Like, there's a reason why we take those types of risks. We hate being told no.
Yeah, and I think there's a ton of desperation in this move. I mean, like Piers said, it is lame. We've heard the Trump-Hitler comparisons for the whole time he's been around politics at this point. So it's just rehashing that is fucking embarrassing. And honestly, they seem desperate and afraid of what's going to happen in the polls. I mean, we've heard this in the coming weeks by multiple places that are complaining about the polls. You just brought up Obama trying to get black men to go out and vote for Kamala, because we've just actually been seeing the swing specifically of black men going over to the Republican Party, mainly for Trump, I would say. I wouldn't even say Republican Party in general, mainly for Trump. And the polls are reflecting that. And that's why they're terrified of that and terrified of just men in general just not wanting to vote for Kamala.
I'm actually going to look something up real quick. Go ahead, Roger.
That's why I brought up earlier that like black people don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also why I said I don't want to sound like an idiot, because I hate when people are like, oh, black people this, black people that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not one of those people. But
well,
I just know like a big
someone...
part of this game is obtaining the black vote for some reason.
Well, yes and no. So the thing is like historically, the Republicans just really don't get like any of the black vote. But if the Republicans ever gotten up to around 20% of the black vote, it's basically done. Like that's what makes it so terrifying. And the thing is, and I was going to say real quick, and don't be afraid about saying something stupid. Everyone says stupid shit on the internet, no matter what. You'll get someone in the comment section going, actually, that's fine. Chat knows, and that's fine. If you're corrected, you're corrected. But also, don't be afraid of generalizations. If someone can't parse through a generalization and understand what you're saying, then I don't really care what they think, to be completely honest with you.
Agreed.
But that's the thing. And what were you looking up, Alex? Because I'm just going to keep going on.
I am looking up.
I don't know if you find it yet.
I didn't find it. It's on X. I was seeing something about Trump currently where he's sitting versus Kamala with the black vote, where as opposed to where he was against Biden. Yeah. And it's interesting because right now, I think it's like 75-15. And Biden was like at 80 to 6.
Yes.
So it's a huge percentage swing. And like you said, they get the 20%. But I think the bigger deal is the loss that Kamala has. The fact that those 5 percentage points loss could be absolutely massive for her.
Yeah, it could be astronomically. It could be astronomically bad for her and bad for the Democratic Party. Because once you start losing voters, it gets tough to really gain them again in the next election unless you're able to actually do it.
So it's
yes, I'm going to ask him that question right when it gets back. He's doing something right now. But yeah, it's difficult to get those voters back if you're going to lose them. And that's why they're fucking terrified, because it's something that you don't want to ever lose. It's a to use a term they might not love, it's a stranglehold on a voting block that you want. And
it's a voting block they take for granted, right?
Yes.
They take that block is always going to come back to them, that it is a sure group, that 100% that they have especially the inner city black vote in their pocket.
And I do want to ask Meek this question. Do you find it anti-black to mispronounce an Indian name?
No, that's crazy. Nah, of course it's freaking racist. No, not at all.
That's racist. All right, I can't find it. I found it before, but yeah, no,
guys, I have to grab my charger, so I'll be right back.
Yep, we'll be here.
Yeah. So all right, we'll move on.
Pop did really pull through for Joe.
He's a bad dude. He's a bad dude.
Pop he's a bad dude. All right, dude, man. What do we got jumping on next?
We will move on to Amendment 4 in Florida.
Yes.
Tony Dungy ran an ad. Am I?
I see.
I thought it was going through too loud. Anyway, Tony Dungy in this tweet, he basically explains what he's going to say in this video anyway. So I'm just going to let the video speak for itself.
This November, Florida voters will be choosing yes or no on Amendment 4, which has been labeled the Right to Abortion Initiative. I urge you to read this amendment very carefully before you vote. I'm convinced if you read it carefully, you will join me in voting no. Amendment 4 was strategically written to be vague and deceptive, giving voters little information about its sweeping impact. Amendment 4 begins this way. No law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability. But it never states when that is. When is a fetus viable? Is it 12 weeks, 24 weeks, 36 weeks? It doesn't say. Under Amendment 4, viability is not defined in law or determined by doctors, but decided by healthcare providers, which could include employees of abortion clinics who are not doctors. The bottom line is, if Amendment 4 passes, there would be no time limit allowing for late-term abortions when science says that the baby can feel pain. The next thing Amendment 4 says is that even when a baby is viable, abortion would still be allowed to protect the patient's health. But what kind of health? Physical health, mental health, emotional health? And how serious must that health concern be? Again, it doesn't say, but allows the same healthcare providers at abortion clinics to make that determination. And while Amendment 4 says that it leaves in place laws that require parental notification, it fails to inform voters that it overturns Florida's law that requires parental consent, making abortion the only medical procedure that can be performed on a minor without the parent's permission. In 2022, in my home state of Michigan, voters approved a similar amendment written by the same lawyers who wrote Amendment 4. Now those lawyers are using that amendment to sue the state of Michigan to force taxpayers to fund elective abortions. The same could easily happen here if Amendment 4 passes. I believe that all mothers deserve health care and protection. Florida's current laws provide exceptions to allow abortions in cases of rape, incest, or to protect the health and life of the mother. But I also believe that all babies in the womb are actual lives in God's eyes, and those babies deserve protection too. I'm asking every Florida voter to read Amendment 4 carefully and don't be deceived by the vague language. We can protect the health of mothers and protect the lives of babies with a better solution that doesn't have so many loopholes and uncertainties. Never before have we been asked to vote on something that is literally a matter of life and death. But that is what Amendment 4 comes down to. Please join me in defending life by voting no on Amendment 4.
do want to do a couple quick things before we jump into discussion. One, Bobby Stevens, this comment right here, is this real? Did this happen? Because I know she was doing some kind of town hall tonight. I've been seeing clips about that.
I mean, if this
Just
is real, I'll
speculating.
read the quote real quick.
Yes.
Kamala Harris. I may not have the answer as soon as you ask it, but about a specific policy sometimes because I'm going to wait to research it. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes. What?
Wow. But if that's real, that's even yeah. His Kamala is not bad.
It's not terrible.
But I did want to say about that video. No matter what your stance on abortion is, I think the overall big point of the video that can be taken out no matter what is to understand when vague language is being used, whether or not it's in some kind of bill or in some kind of anything. Understand when vague language is being used and drill down to understand what people are saying and what these things could mean for you, either directly or indirectly. So I think that was huge. And honestly, I think Tony Dungy did a great job.
You missed part of it, right?
Yeah, right. John missed part of it.
So basically, the law, with the way it states, it's an Amendment 4 in the Florida Constitution that they're going to vote for. And they say that a healthcare provider can help make the decision based on the health of a mother for an abortion. Basically, the right to an abortion for a woman, which a lot of people agree with, right? The right to an abortion. Where he nailed down is that the language, while it sounds flowery, is vague. Because in Florida, a healthcare provider doesn't only mean a doctor. It means a nurse. It means someone working at Planned Parenthood. It has a CNA, a midwife. It has a lot of connotations. So when, you'll hear a lot of the politicians say, we should leave this between the doctor and the mother. Well, healthcare provider in the state of Florida doesn't mean that. It means varied. And then they just say health of the mother. They never specify what health. Is it mental health, physical health? How bad does it have to be? And then on top of that, they also say viability. And he points out they did not say 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 36 weeks. When is the baby viable? So he's warning in there about that type of language. Now, obviously, Tony Dungy's an very outspoken Christian, and this is one of his main topics. But have you seen people talking about anything like this in terms of abortion and the language that they use and things like that? And what do you feel about when they're trying to write these laws? And we all see them. You flip over the thing, there's propositions. Half the time, nobody takes the time to know what the fuck they're supposed to be before you get there. Then you get blindsided and you're like, I don't know what any of this means. I just want to get out of here, right? So is this something that you think is effective, talking about the propositions beforehand? And what do you feel about the way they're using the language in terms of making it so vague and varied?
Well, first, I do think it's effective because one person gaining the necessary knowledge is a benefit, So I do think it's necessary and effective. However, I do also think that the people who are writing these propositions and these laws are writing them the way they are for a reason. They're writing them keeping in mind that, like you said, the average person is not going to look into what these things actually mean. They understand that certain words hold a certain connotation that the general public is aware of. And at first glance, this is what's going to be associated with this. So let me put this way. It's the same thing in contracts, and involving the music and stuff. That's why you have a lawyer there to read through everything. But unfortunately, not everybody has a lawyer to read through everything. I think the main problem is that, and some people might feel a way about this, but I just think that in order to truly have a true solution, that solution has to apply to all indiscriminately. You can't have one state defining something differently than the next state. It has to be clear cut all the way through, or else this would be a conversation that we forever have.
And I also think it needs to be like, if they want to have a law like that, it should be specified, right? Like there are laws right now. Florida, what is there, a 12-week? It's 12-week ban or something like that, or 6-week, it's something like that. But you know what? You can hate that, but at least it's concrete, right? You know where the law stands. With this, I feel like the problem that Tony Dungy points out, I think correctly, 6 weeks. The vague language of it, right? Healthcare provider, defined by Florida as many different things. If it says medical doctor, practicing physician, that is, the delivery doctor, they're working together. Okay, at least it's defined, but they don't define it. And then they don't define viability. Like we said, 6 weeks, that's the law. And with health, they don't define it. Like, so if like a woman's like, this is affecting my mental health, I can't have this baby. If that law gets passed, they could loophole and say, hey, it's her health care. We're doing this for her health care. And now all of a sudden, if that baby is almost fully gestated, 7, 8, 9 months, they're now going to be able to have a loophole for an abortion. And that's the type of thing that concerns me. You know, I have 2 beautiful girls, and to sit there and think that there was a possibility of that being a thing that could be okay fucks with my head completely.
Yeah, and I do want to actually push back on one thing you said, Rajan, but it's because I get what you're saying. Where it's good to, yeah, fuck it, why not? I haven't seen him in a minute. I don't care. I'll fucking fight him as long as he gets seen. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. With, you know, it's good to have something that's concrete that kind of goes over everything, so people at least understand where a boundary might be. But I also don't think it's a bad thing for there to be conversations to be going on for a long, long time. Because even if sometimes, you know, right now something might be more concrete, but maybe sometimes with the advancement of technology and the advancement of certain things, those conversations need to be being had to understand where we are in certain positions in the like in the country or in the world at this point. So while I understand it, and I do think that solution that you have, or at least that thought that you have, is actually good in some instances, I think that we need to be pretty flexible and really just take it depending on context and what situation it is, and say, hey, some conversations need to be had damn near forever. So like sometimes we just need to be arguing all the fucking time, because I just think
sometimes
argument's good. Yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes I think that's a result of us trying to answer questions that really it's for God to answer.
Okay.
Because
that's fine.
I like that.
And the reason I say is because how can, like, I don't care about any amount of research that you can do. You're not, because nobody really knows what life is. So how can you possibly tell me when it begins? You know what I mean? And that in itself will forever just be a conversation point. You know what I mean? Because nobody can really tell you when life begins. Like, oh, okay, this is when the heart comes. But then it's a question of, oh, well, does life actually depend on the heartbeat, or is life something completely unrelated that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's such a big thing with so many other variables that
it's a layered concept.
And I think you hit on something there, Meek, which I've heard, you know, becoming more of a popular thing. Instead of a law about abortion specifically, there should be a law of when they define personhood. When is a person considered a person under the law, right? So is a person only considered a person when they pop out of a mother? Because if you go right now and you walk down the street and you see a dude stab a pregnant woman, more than likely they're going to get double homicide if that baby dies, right? So there are certain times where the law recognizes that baby in the womb as a child. But then there's other situations with abortion where it then becomes a gray area, right? So that's where I think, over more than just actual an abortion law, if our federal government defines when a person starts, when does that person start to be a person? And because it's mentioned in the Constitution that all persons are to be protected. Okay, when are we people then? When does that start by law? I feel like that would answer the question of abortion.
And I actually like that you said that. I actually like that you said that, because truthfully, the law doesn't have to be correct. It just has to be the law.
Yeah.
You know,
and it
what
can
I mean?
be changed, right?
Yeah, and it can be changed. And so, like, that's why, I mean, these kinds of things, again, it's like there's never really a solid answer, because times change, technology changes, everything changes all the time. So it's almost impossible to really have something as concrete as the Constitution has been.
Well, and that's why I also like, because to me, a lot of times where we go with certain things country wise, really it has to, if we want to do it in our liberal type of way, the way we have it done it in our Western type of way, it does through the sentiments of the people, through the sentiments of the country at the time. And that's how these things ebb and flow. And what we're seeing, honestly, in the West nowadays is a bunch of people in government, usually unelected, that are trying to change sentiment, that are trying to force sentiment, that are trying to force certain things and certain cultural change and certain thought change in order to get things to be passed, in order to just force it down people's throats and say, well, this is where progress is, when that's not exactly where people might want to move as a country. And I think that's where the rub is right now in basically every damn Western country and what's happening in them.
And I also think that you said something important, that you talked about God. And I think this also goes to what you're saying, Dave, is we're dealing with a lot more people in the country where, Meek, you say about God and they look at you and go, but there is no God. Because there's so much more atheism and agnosticism than I've ever seen. And I feel like this question gets answered so much easier if you have a religious nation. It doesn't only have to be Christian. Whatever religion you prescribe to, it gives you more of a basis and a foundation. That's what I feel, at least. And I always like to say to anyone I know that's atheist or agnostic, whether you want to or not, you have Judeo-Christian values, because that's where our laws come from. That's where the morals, that's where the Western values come from, is a Judeo-Christian background. So regardless of what you have, the 10 Commandments, you look at our laws right now, you look at the 10 Commandments, they're pretty fucking close, right? Yeah. And even like the social things, like, yeah, not cheating isn't a law, but you kind of don't cheat just because that's what we've been raised not to do. That's a bad thing. Adultery is bad. Where other cultures, the dude can go and be like, that's my wife, but that's my concubine, and that's my girlfriend, and that's cool, right? Because that culture doesn't deem adultery at the same level. Well, mostly for men. Women will get stoned. But yeah. but I'm just saying, like, there's that cultural difference. And I think, like you mentioning, like, it's up to God. If more people at least had that opinion, if that was at least more of the foundation of, we need to leave certain things up to God, then we can get to the point of debating, okay, which view of God is correct in this sentiment, right? Mm-hmm. And that could be a different debate, but at least if we have that foundation that we agree on a set of morals, and I think that's a big issue right now. This country, we don't agree on a set of morals. Well, I think at least before, we had different cultures, and we still do. We've had, like, white culture, black culture, Mexican culture, whatever, Indian culture. They've all been in there, but we've all at least agreed upon this set of morals in America that we're cool with. And now that's been broken. You live out in California.
I also find it really interesting, and maybe I shouldn't butt in with this because it kind of throws it off into a tangent. But I always find it interesting because there is a difference between white culture and black culture in America. 100%. But when it comes to a point, there's an American culture that's very shared between both white and black people, where it's just like there's a very shared culture there that's not shared with, like, Mexican culture.
Fucking barbecue. Barbecue. If you it doesn't matter.
It's called a cookout, but as well. But like, it's the same thing. What I'm saying is, like, I always find it interesting how we separate them, because there are different cultures. Mainly, I find it to be regional, to be completely honest with you.
A lot of the ways,
I think regionally there's different cultures, but if we want to separate a skin color, whatever, I don't care. But I don't know. I just want to break in and say that, because I always find it interesting, because there is, like, a shared American culture there that everyone fucking experiences.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing going around where someone was like, anyone have, like, the fucking country crock butter tin where it's like, if they had leftovers in it, it's like, yeah, I fucking experienced it. everyone who didn't have the money to just go out and buy the Tupperware after Tupperware experienced that. There's a shared American culture there.
Yeah.
So I just find it interesting. Anyway, I'm sorry, I kind of just knocked it out of
No, I agree with you. And on that note, I did want to ask Meek, out in LA, do you kind of see that loss of God around a lot of the people that you're with and that you work with in entertainment? Because from the outside looking in, it looks like entertainment is just a godless, Satanist fucking place to be, where holding on to God is like the worst thing that you could do, right? Mm-hmm. As you're dealing with people, and again, if you want to throw people under the bus, let's have fun, but you don't have to. But do you experience, a lot of, like, godlessness and a lot of that type of going on and bending into that?
Yes. And I can say that without hesitation. Oh, it was good, bro. The owner of the studio walked out. I was just telling him hi. What you call it? Yeah, man. Like, and here's the thing. Before I moved out here, I knew that this was something I could expect to see and experience. I just didn't know what form it would take. Because you hear stories and you see movies and, like, you get an idea, but you never really know until you're in it. You know what I mean?
Is there God in Mordor? There's just the fucking eye, Nate. There is the eye.
Yo, for real though, like
The eye of Sauron. That's all there is. So has it been hard to keep your faith over there? Has it been hard to, with all the temptation, with all the ease that you could do so many things? And don't get me wrong, we're human, we're sinners, that type of shit happens. But has it been hard to, even through sinning, maintain your faith with so much ease of just like how easy it is and how, I guess, prevalent and pushed it is to throw it away?
So to answer that, I don't know if I told you guys. I know Alex, has been a while since we've talked.
Yeah.
David, we've talked more recently, but I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was always raised with Muslim or Islamic teachings and Islamic beliefs, I fully claimed my Islam in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And being out here, I find it easier. I find my faith strengthened because of what I see.
That's awesome.
Because it's almost like, you know, and I don't know if you guys have ever read the Quran, but I'm sure the experience can easily be the same in the Bible.
I was gifted by one of my former bosses, who is a practicing devout Muslim, a English version of the Quran, and I have thumbed through it, and I've read a good portion. I haven't finished it, but yes, I have. And again, he said it's really hard to find the English version, so we worked his ass off.
No, it really is.
He's like, they really don't make these. They want you reading it in the language.
In Arabic, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually spent like 6 months trying to learn Arabic, and my gosh, it's hard.
It ain't easy.
But what you call it? Yeah, you know, like you see the things that you read out here. You know, like I tell people all the time, California, or I won't speak on the entire California, but like LA, Southern California,
district, yeah.
You know, it reminds me of a modern day like Sodom and Gomorrah story.
Yeah.
You know, where everyone in Sodom was like doing things they wasn't supposed to be doing.
Drugs, whatever, just anything they wanted in a rejection of God.
And that's what you see out here is people doing whatever they want. And the truth is, the thing that keeps my faith so strong is that in the Quran, you know, Allah tells you that sometimes, like, or most of the time, when you see people that are rich and like wealthy and famous, and they look to you like they have everything they could possibly want, God does that and provides that to a lot of people to basically condemn them, to solidify like what side of the line you're on. Because money doesn't do anything but exaggerate what's already there. So if you're a greedy person, you're going to be even more greedy. If you're a conspicuous person or promiscuous person, I mean, you know, you're going to be even more of that.
Man,
you know,
conspicuous
so
with their promiscuity.
And conspicuous or promiscuous.
Yeah.
So I see these people out here, and they dive into these wild drugs that got names that I can't even pronounce. People walking around with balloons looking like it or something. Like
the fuck?
It's they
walking
walk
around a horror show, my man.
Crazy.
And it's just outside normal. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like the reality is kids are growing up in this environment.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the kids that are growing up are one day going to be the next generation of those people.
It's normalized for them.
And but you hope that they have a good upbringing some way to reject that, see it as bad, see it as something
you would hope, but
it's not
quickly
easy.
Understand that that's not the case, because, and again, this is something that's kind of particular to the area, but a lot of these kids, their parents are actors and athletes.
They're
and
into that shit.
They're people who aren't home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
and they're just throwing money at them. They have a nanny, they have an au pair, they have someone that watches them and raises them.
And you know, they don't while of course, like whoever is there that's watching them, I'm sure they care at least somewhat, but they're not getting what they would get.
Only as much though as they need to, right? Because they're not the parent. They want that paycheck to clear, and they don't want to get fired. So you're only going to discipline that child as so
you're
much.
Not going to overstep to the point where you'll get fired. You're not going to actually give them the discipline
and that's why
and the rearing that they need.
And that's why you typically see like the sane celebrities and things like that. They don't fucking live in LA. They'll go there, they'll do their job, and then when they're filming, when they're doing what they need to do, they're there. After that, they come back to wherever it is that they live, and that's where their family stays. Their family don't come out with them because they don't want to expose them to that. So our boy X-Wing, with the comment here,
they're good
saying,
comments here.
Islam is far more prevalent in severely overpopulated areas of the world. There are too many things in the Quran I can't abide by, but I respect every religion. That's the beauty of America. And he said, I promote peace. If you're for peace, we're homies. And here's my perspective on Islam, Christianity and things like that. They are absolutely cousins, along with Judaism, because shut up, Dave. They're both Abrahamic religions. They're all based on, Abraham as being the base. And the thing that a lot of people don't know, and you can correct me on this, Meek, Jesus is not a infidel. Jesus is just a divine prophet that is not Muhammad. Muhammad is the highest, right? It's not like they like Jesus. They don't hate Jesus. And also, isn't the Virgin Mary the only woman mentioned in high status in the Quran?
Yes. And if I can correct you, it's not that Muhammad is the highest, because we love and think of all of our prophets equally, but it's that Muhammad was the most recent and the last, and it's told to us that his message is meant for us all of us who came after. But those teachings are the same. Jesus was teaching the same thing that Muhammad was teaching, that Abraham was teaching, that Seth was teaching, that like it's all the same message. And that message is a subservience to God, whether you call him God or Allah,
and
or
Allah
whatever.
Is God. It translates to God. And I think people get caught up on the Sharia aspect, which was like during like a lot of the Muhammad the Warrior time, right? Where he was, and if I'm not mistaken, again, that was earlier. And then the rest of the Quran was basically dismantling a lot of those things and branching towards peace. So with the issue that we see with a lot of these Muslim countries, real quick, Dave, is that they have latched on to the Sharia side of it. Like there's a difference between an Islamist and a Muslim that is practicing, where someone that's practicing Islam, because as you guys are getting preached about all the messaging, not just the Sharia, they are taking the Sharia as their basis and as the only thing of Islam that they should abide by.
So what you have is, right, and again, like you said earlier, Islam is very similar to Christianity, Judaism and things like that. And the reason being is that just like in America, right, you might go to Utah and you find a bunch of Mormons, and you go to Arkansas and you see a bunch of whatever, right? Or you go to Hannibal.
Oh, we lost him. He got cut out.
Sorry, I'm getting phone calls from people.
They're watching you, and your agent's on right now going, your publicist is like, tell Meek to stop.
Hello?
You're good. You're here.
You're good, Meek.
Oh, maybe he can't hear us.
He can't hear us.
Oh, he's dying.
Oh, no.
But I will say real quick before we get him back, and I think that's one of the things that hurts a lot of Muslims is like, look in Britain and you see some areas that are just full on Sharia law. And they're like, and that's what it's ruled by. And when you're neighboring with people who don't integrate into your country and then put in a culture in just a certain area that doesn't jive with your culture at all, they're going to get a bad look.
It's people calling my phone and they messing up.
You're good.
I'm sorry. So yeah, what I was saying is that in these Islamic countries, right, you have within Islam, you have Shiite Muslims, you have Sunni Muslims.
Yes.
And while the beliefs are very similar, they're different in ways, just like how some Catholic beliefs are different from some Christian beliefs.
And you have the Kurds, right? Is the Kurd the third most prevalent, prominent belief?
What was that?
The Kurds are also like they're another belief of Islam, right? The Kurds.
That I'm not familiar with.
Because from what I remember during World War I, the big issue was the Ottoman Empire knew they were going to get split up because they were a part of the losers, but they had told the Western powers, like, hey, we've kept the peace by allowing the different sections of Islam to kind of rule themselves without forcing the mold. The only force that they needed to do was when they were fighting for the empire, serving the empire in government. and the Western powers said, fuck off, we're going to cut it up for oil. And the Ottomans essentially were saying, make a Shiistan, make a Sunnistan, make a Kurdistan, so they can all rule themselves and you'll have more peace that way. And that's similar to what you say, where there's a difference in minor differences in beliefs, even though it's all Islam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because here's the thing, like in Islam and in that Quran that you picked up and showed, we're taught not to act violently or judge other cultures and beliefs. We're not to say, oh, you're a Christian, so you're dumb, or you're going to hell, or you're Jewish, or you're blah, 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 right? We're actually taught to love and embrace those people. So, but in some other countries and areas, you have people that believe the opposite of that. If that's people that's like, oh, if I see a Christian, I might chop his head off, or I might.
They're the infidels kind of thing.
Exactly.
And that's where we get all that.
Instead of Kurds or the Mormons and Islam. That's
nobody actually knows what they stand for.
Yeah, we're familiar with identifying that aspect as the terrorists and things like that we see. I do want to clarify for the people listening, just because you're a Muslim or believe in Islam, you are not a terrorist.
And here's the thing. I think that was overblown too, to that point where you had your ignorant fucks after 9/11 doing that. But most people, because, before that happened in America, we were living side by side with, Islamic people, people that practice Islam and Muslims and things like that. And it's not like this was the first time in America that we had a Islam-based terrorism attack. So it's not like it was always just flip the switch. I think you had your ignorant ones that did it, and some of them were loud morons, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I still think one of my best friends, rest in peace, Ahmed El-Zayat, he was Egyptian and a practicing Muslim. His whole family was practicing. I used to visit friggin' during Ramadan. I used to go to the mosque, and because they were inviting, they were like, hey, come hang out. Come, at the end of the fast, they didn't care who came to the feast. They didn't care if they were practicing and participating or they were friends. They were allowed to go and participate in the feast. It was just part of the culture. So I think that's why I may have a different perspective also of Islam, because I did experience firsthand the kindness of those that are practicing it and are devout in it.
Yeah. And I want to hit up X-Wing's comments here, because he's actually doing good work in the comment section. Islam is the last religion still fighting holy wars. I think in the next 4 years we'll be seeing Christians versus Muslims again. I hope you're wrong, X-Wing. I hope you're very wrong. Afghan was kind of indirectly a fourth crusade under a different flag, and he also says, I think Americans are incidentally involving themselves in holy wars by virtue of the Western world, but actually fucking things up worse.
Which is what correct. They do.
And can't we just leave that area of the world the fuck alone? I agree with that as well. Just let them do what they got to do, man.
Here's what I would suggest. Go back there and just say, here's the thing. We're going to redraw these lines. Fuck all these governments. Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, fuck all of you. Shiites go here. Sunnis go there. Kurds go there. All the other little things. Create your countries. Call them whatever the fuck you want. Because that's the only way that the peace can be really had. And that's what we've seen. We saw that in Iraq, where Saddam Hussein was essentially like, I'm just trying to keep people from killing each other that believe different parts of Islam. And obviously he was an evil guy. He gassed his own fucking people and things like that. But that was kind of like the regional thing. So, Meek, I love this education on Islam. I think that this is something where we need more people willing to engage and talk about this openly, right? Because we are incredibly Christian.
So incredibly Christian.
They don't want blue jeans. They don't want Subway. Leave them alone, bro. That's incredibly accurate. Incredibly accurate.
Swing, I'll say this. In that part of the world, though, blue jeans would fucking suck, okay? You would have so much ball chafage, which is why they wear
a lot of baby powder.
Which is why they wear the loose rags and they wear the headdresses.
Okay, but now we have to intervene. Have them like blue jeans. Have a baby powder company, get fucking rich, my dude. Like, are you kidding me? We would be dominant. We would be dominant. Just an absolute factor in the world market at that point.
Yeah, I'm cracking up.
I don't know. They might not. Here's the issue with that, though. I don't know if they've gotten to the part of advancement where they shave their shit, so the baby powder might not save them. They might still be going the fucking 1980s porn bush.
No cap.
So, oh man, we have gone off the fucking rails, and I love it. And you know, thing is, like, I really feel like it might be a fucking awesome thing. And I know you're busy, but just having conversations with people about this, because obviously you are educated about your religion. You're not just someone who, you know, says that they are a Muslim. Like, you are a practicing Muslim, at least. And if you're not like devout practicing, you learned and you are a student, you know your religion. Because, you know, I am not like a go to church Christian all the time, but I have read the Bible. I know enough about the Bible to talk. Obviously, there's theologians that'll be like, you're a fucking idiot. Where I'd imagine there's probably some theologians in Islam that would
Pastor
sit there
Scott
and be like,
likes us, so I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Pastor Scott does like us.
One important thing that the Quran mentions is to not judge a religion by its followers.
Yeah.
So while I am Muslim, I'm not a perfect Muslim. I'm not an example of what Islam looks like. But I do pray 5 times a day. I participate in Ramadan. I go to the mosques. I eat and share with my brothers and sisters. And, you know, I do what Muslims do. But I also do what Americans do.
Still American, baby.
Smoke that way, baby.
Like I said, American culture, man. American culture. Americans don't want to see it, especially if they haven't been outside a country. But everyone outside a country can tell an American when they see an American. There's a specific culture. It's born and bred in you, man. And X-Wing, again, it's tough because Iran was so happy before the Islamic Revolution of the late 60s, and now it's so different. But again, not our place.
You know, and that's the thing. I agree with that sentiment that it's not our place. And I also, like, obviously Israel is going to be fucking a big thing, right? Because the West gave Israel back. I'm not going to say fucking created Israel, because they gave that part of the region back to Jews that were there in Jerusalem. That is, you know, I'm pretty sure that's everywhere. That is a pretty well-known thing. Now, I feel like what I would like to do, what I would love to see,
trying to push American ideals and always futile. Yes.
Agreed. What I would like to see and what I would enjoy more of anything is if we just say that whole region is Holy Land, period. And it's Holy Land to 3 different religions that really hold it in high regard.
I think that's difficult.
And it's nobody's
I think
land.
that's difficult.
And anyone can settle here. And it is a peaceful new. Here's the thing, though. But I feel like that would be better. And again, Israel is obviously established, and there's a big thing going on, and that's going to be a conflict that is not resolved for a long fucking time. We have thousands of years of still fighting there. It's not going to, as long as that exists.
It's not something that ends quickly.
But the ideal thing for me would be is you look at that reason, you say to everyone, this fucking stops or we're going to kill all of you. Okay, fuck you. We're going to bomb every single one of you to oblivion. This land is now fully holy to the 3 Abrahamic religions. Anyone can live here that practices.
If you don't abide by it, we're making the biggest fucking Buc-ee's around. That's it.
I have said, listen, we are going to make the fucking, we'll call it the Middle Eastern Ocean. We will fucking bomb them all to oblivion.
No. I want it to be a Buc-ee's. I want it to be a Buc-ee's.
The biggest fucking truck stop of all time. I don't know. You might get people to actually come around to that. Like, even
the Buc-ee's airport.
If you
come on,
introduce
Mike.
Buc-ee's to the Middle East, they might be like, wait a minute, we can all get these? Maybe we'll stop fighting. Just make sure you don't fucking just take the pork out of here, but we're fucking good. This place is delicious.
Keep the bacon. Give us everything else.
Give us everything else. You can keep the bacon, and then we'll bring it to India, and they'll be like, get the fucking beef out of here, but we're good. No cows to give us Buc-ee's.
Look, McDonald's is fucking loved everywhere. Let's be honest about this. So there is a part of American culture that wants to be like, people want it everywhere, but it's just certain things of American culture.
You know why McDonald's is loved everywhere? Because their burgers aren't beef or pork.
And have you seen McDonald's in other countries? It's fucking great there. It's so much better than what we have.
The different cultural things that they have at each McDonald's is fucking amazing.
It's incredible.
Well, there's regulations. Like there's certain things that are allowed here that aren't even allowed to touch over
that's part of it. 110%. That's part of it. But I also think they understand they don't have to try as hard as they used to here. They have to try a bit in other countries to get people to eat there because it's not solidified like it is in America.
I want to address this comment real quick. What frustrates me is our government stopped Christian Bible groups in public school for years, ago, but now we have prayer rooms for Muslim students. And here's the thing. I don't put that on the Muslims. That is pandering by one group of people to try and gain the favor of a group and a voting bloc.
And
That's all that's
honestly,
for.
and honestly, if the balls of Muslims can bring back the balls of Christians to go and fucking lobby for things like that, I would rather Christians actually have more of a voice and be fucking strong again.
I'd like to respond to Debbie because
real quick, we're bringing in our boy X-Wing. You can respond.
X-Wing, what's up, man?
I was tired of
not
being in
in
the chat. I was
hold
like,
up.
send it.
Yeah.
I want to hop in.
Meek, you can respond real quick.
Also, real quick, Debbie said not in Australia. It isn't. Okay, yeah, Debbie Yoss. We should have noticed that.
That's true.
It's very different Australia.
Yeah,
I don't know Australia.
Debbie, you think that's bad? And and she's in Australia.
Yeah, she's in Australia.
In America, there's rooms for what's called furries.
Oh
There's kids,
fuck that.
There's kids that dress up as animals.
She might have that in Australia.
They have litter boxes instead of bathrooms for the kids.
I've heard that's fake. Is that real in California?
That's a
I've
real
heard
thing.
That's fake.
Nah,
that's a real 100%.
Thing. Yeah. So
yo,
this is where you
work
have to
in the
have
schools.
this. You got to have this delicate conversation. What's worse? What do you really want to do when we look at this? So this is where, as a Christian, because a lot of times when we look at, Christianity and Islam, we go all the way back, way back.
Mhm.
We go back to the taking of Jerusalem, and then who took Jerusalem, and then turns out when Saladin showed up and took Jerusalem back, it was his great grandkids that took Jerusalem back. We've had long wars over religion for a very long time.
Yes.
But now I almost have to wonder, is there a way where Christians and Muslims can come together and say, we have a greater enemy right now?
Well, it's kind of happening in some aspects. It's kind of happening
where
they're coming together.
Enemy. That's a movie that's coming out.
That's a movie. Dude, a buddy cop
movie called
That's my next book, Alex. That's my next book.
And you need to do both. Do one with the fucking the
no, not Epstein One Piece. That's a terrible idea. That's such a fucking dumb gag. That's a Steam indie game.
We'll call it Crislam the Avenger. Taking America back one school at a time.
You have to go to Germany and go to the fucking dog festival they have and get rid of them too. They have a festival of fucking humans walking other humans as dogs.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think It was a Filthy Frank song. He had a dog festival direction song to some kind of Asian country that eats dogs. That's what you made me think of.
So much of what you just said confused me.
I know. That's what you made me think of. We're just going to go to this comment. Like the DNC had a prayer room at the same venue as the abortion bus if toxic positivity was a political party. Yeah.
And again, it's just all pandering. It is all pandering and trying to sit there and get a block to secure it where, for me, and like X-Wing said, we have a common enemy here. I would much prefer to sit there and give a prayer room to devout Muslims that pray 4 times a day, right? They do their thing, then do fucking furries. Okay. Furries are the bigger enemy. I will give it to a religious individual that is practicing their religion because we have that freedom here. Then fucking furries.
Are you telling me to resend those tickets for Midwest Fur Fest? You're not going this year?
Hey, shut the fuck up. We were not supposed to talk about that on here. And X-Wing's the one that got us those tickets on the street.
Just fucking throwing him on it. Goddamn.
I got him on Ticket Hub. So, the hard thing for me is a lot of people I was just talking about this on Wing Wednesday. A lot of these conversations, we like to boil it down to black and white. We try to make it such an easy conversation. We try to boil it down to good and bad and good and blah, blah, blah. And that's just the bottom line that's not the way the shit pans out.
Never.
That's the bottom line. There are a bunch of, when we were in Afghanistan, there were a bunch of Afghani guys that were practicing Muslims that were fucking awesome dudes that backed up the guys trying to bring democracy and blue jeans and subways and shit to Afghanistan because they thought they were doing the right thing. And then there were a bunch of guys on the other side who were practicing Muslims who were calling, Allahu Akbar and trying to kill Americans and stuff like that. So whose side do you pick and why? And so I try to put myself in the situation of what if it was America, which is actually happening now? What if there was a massive invasion of people who are, practicing Muslims?
Meek,
who
are
came
you
in
okay there?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to take a screenshot for my memories.
Sorry, X-Men, keep going.
Sorry, so I was just trying to make sure he's good.
I think a better example is probably what's going on in the UK right now. So you have a bunch of different communities that are now being essentially replaced by a lot of people from foreign countries that are practicing Muslims or Hinduism or whatever the case may be. There's this massive replacement of the culture in the communities. And wouldn't you be pissed? Would you be mad at a British guy if he's in his community and he's trying to do what he does, and all of a sudden all these different people come in and push ideals on you? Wouldn't you be saying like,
and he's told he's a bad person if he finds it weird, like not even like bad,
you'd
if
be
he finds it
screaming like
weird.
Jesus is Lord and trying to push him out. So are you mad at the guys in Afghanistan that are doing the same fucking thing? Absolutely not.
I will say my one Muslim friend I talked to about this stuff.
You have one Muslim friend that makes you not
one of
fucking
them
Islamophobic.
One of them. One of them. I go to a martial arts gym. You find a lot of them. But one of them just kept blaming the Palestinians about Britain, which is hilarious. It's like it's just the Palestinians, bro. It's like it's always.
But here's the thing, though. The ones that are going into these communities is similar to what we're seeing, I think, coming at the southern border. It's usually, sometimes it's decent people that want to come in better life. They're coming in illegally, but still, they're not bad people. But a lot of times you're getting the dregs.
I think it's mostly good people trying to find a better life.
But I think going into some of those other countries, you're seeing a lot of military age boys and men. Those are usually the dregs that couldn't make it in their countries, and they're just trying to get handouts somewhere else.
So in my eyes, they're sending the dude who can go get a job. They're looking for the dude that can actually work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so they're sending that. For me, if I'm in a country where it's like, man, this place is a shithole, and I've got 3 daughters and one 16-year-old kid, like, he's a boy. Who are you going to send? I'm not sending my 7-year-old daughter. I'm sending my 16-year-old kid. Like, go make some fucking money.
That, and I do think Sargon has hit on a good point about this when he talks about it a bunch of times, is you got to think the age of the men that are coming, like 18 to 25, even pushing up to 30, there is a spirit in men that makes them just go do random shit. Yeah. And they don't care. Like when you're that age, you feel invincible. You're just going to go do shit. And if you have the ability, if the countries are saying, yeah, come on in, you'll get a hotel room in a nice hotel. You'll get all this stuff. You could do whatever you want. Just go do some DoorDash and we'll provide the rest of your money. And you could fuck around and we're not going to do anything about it. You're going to find a bunch of men, young men there, be like, yeah, that sounds like an awesome time. I'm not doing anything here. I'm going to go ahead and just go in that country and just have fun.
So, Meek, I want your perspective on this because I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there has been a massive Muslim flow into like England, France, Sweden, a lot of places where they are going into those countries and they're being welcomed. So it's not like where we're dealing with the legal border crossing. We're in
welcome by the government.
Hey, that's what matters. That's what matters. The government recognizes them as legal.
Not been welcomed by the local,
by the people, not by locals, by the people.
So, what is your view as someone who shares the faith, watching that go on and seeing like going on around the world?
So when you ask this, you mean like Muslims, what you call it, migrating?
Immigrating, going to places, but yeah.
I mean, I see it as something that's been happening forever. It's nothing that's like special to me or anything like that.
I'm gonna have to catch you up on some stuff after the show, but because
and here's the thing, and here's the difference. And Meek, is not to throw anything at you, but the difference between X-Wing, Dave, and myself, who are like entrenched in this political shit, right? We pay attention to this where we're looking at it. Well, you're over there, and you're just like, I'm just trying to make some fucking music. Like I might get some politics thrown at me. I'm in California, so I hear some stuff. I might get some things, but mostly I just want to block it out as noise. Make some good music.
Where are you at, Meek?
I'm in a studio right now. I'm in you mean like actually where I'm at? I'm in North Hollywood.
You're in California?
Yeah. He's a musician.
All right. That's a fucking bubble. That's a whole different part of the planet. That shit is like, if you can imagine a bubble on the moon, that's California. That is a whole
literally LA is like Springfield with the dome over it.
That's hilarious. Man. That is fucking hilarious.
You nailed it, dude.
Yeah.
Literally with the bubble and all that. Yeah.
So the thing is, the goal is we're gonna get Meek to get famous so that he can have enough fuck you money to get the fuck out of LA.
Yes.
Still get a studio somewhere else normal and still make as much money to do it there. And then only visit there for like awards.
Every fucking musician's goal is just like get me. It's either LA or Nashville. It's one of the two. Get me the fuck out of LA or get me out of Nashville.
I feel like we're soon gonna find out what bigwig in Nashville was making a bunch of fucking country stars blow them. Like we're gonna figure that's the next shoe to drop.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Taylor sucks some dick in that town. I know that for sure. Taylor sucks some dick.
Whoa.
I want to get to some comments here. This is actually more of a comment for X-Wing now because Chris Lom's going to be fighting someone. He's got to fight someone.
Who would Chris Lom fight? Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
I feel like that's going to be some George Lucas ass like Star Wars space fantasy. Like the aliens came in and fight Chris Lom. Yeah.
What would Chris Lom look like? Like I need you to sketch out the perfect Chris Lom. Like write the story. Like
what a Chris Lom dude would look like? That Giga Chad, wide jawed, fucking bad dude who just stands for family, love, good food, good life, everything. Just being healthy, clean, happy. Just a good. That's what Chris Lom would
look
like.
Fucking burly beard.
Right now, tonight, we're starting a brand new meme. Chris Lom.
Chris Lom, baby.
I want to see that square jawed dude, just Chris Lom, because legitimately.
Chris Lom.
I don't know if we're gonna beat it any other way.
Yeah, to be quite honest, and real quick from Debbie, high school I work in has a large Muslim community. Students are awesome, and we have some great conversations. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I feel like a lot of people push on the internet, other than like hyper partisans, is that most everyone's going to be able to get along in real life.
Yes,
like these big blowout things that just don't fucking happen most of the time.
Dude, a couple thousand years ago, Meek and I would have fucking met shield to shield. I'm not kidding. Like we did. Yeah, we would have killed the shit out of each other. 100%. And now we're staring uncertainly at the future and going, you're not so bad. Like it's like Gimli and Legolas. You're like side by side with a friend.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I think a lot of people need to notice, like, we started talking about Meek brought up his faith and he started proudly talking about it and educating and things like that. And I think Christians need to realize we share that shit, right? Because if you're a practicing Christian and someone starts to talk about religion and they seem interested, what do? You kind of start talking about your Christianity and you start
if it's a Christian that's actually proud of their faith. And there's a lot of Christians that are not proud of their faith nowadays.
Very
it's
true.
just
scared of it.
Yeah, they're scared of being an out and out Christian.
Exactly.
Fuck that.
And a big thing too that I find is which is why I'm always so iffy about having a conversation about religion with some people, is just because
LA,
people disregard their amount of intelligence of something. They don't care that they don't know what they're talking about. They're gonna talk anyway.
That ain't religion, bro. That's just humans right now.
They're gonna shout. They're gonna da-da-da. So it's like, like as much as I would love to be like, oh yeah, Islam, whatever. Like,
dude, you might have something instead of a music career. Just do a fucking man on the street thing where you could like walk up to people and be like, "What's your faith?" And if they have one, just be like,
"That's a tough one, man."
That's awesome, though. What's your faith? You want to have a conversation with the
I don't want to hear that one of my best friends was just fucking eaten up by some LA zombie because he was trying to keep some name on the street.
Look,
thing, dude.
If they say anything other than Chris Lom, they get punched in the face.
That's gonna be the new fucking crusade. The new holy war is Chris Lom versus all.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
I'm just stuck on this Helm's Deep moment where Meek and I are standing on the wall and there's just an army of fucking furries banging at the gate.
Furries and I look at the Scientologists are like the leaders of the furries.
I look at Meek and I go, I never thought I'd die fighting next to a Muslim. And Meek goes, what about with a friend?
And then you start counting the kills. You start counting the kills on the fucking battlefield. I got 23.
Hold up, though. Hold up, though. You just brought up an army of furries. Have you ever seen the Flash Gets animation with the space the Warhammer Space Marines against furries?
No.
This might not be the time for it, but you should look it up because that shit's fucking hilarious. But you just reminded me of that. And look, we're gonna need some Space Marines to go against this shit. We're gonna need to beef up and be ready for it.
I mean,
that ain't gonna be a fight.
Hey, listen, you never know if they're carrying rabies. I don't want anything to fucking do with them. Okay.
Fuck out of here.
If these fucking rabid assholes are carrying rabies, I want nothing to do with them.
Dave's carrying chlamydia, so I think we can handle. I think we can handle them.
Hold up. We're not just throwing this around here. What is happening? Who are you talking to?
Oh my God! You find out new things every day.
Well,
West Virginia gives you chlamydia.
This is a good transition, though. This is a good transition because speaking of chlamydia,
oh Jesus Christ,
Assassin's Creed Shadows.
All right, hold on. Before you do all that, I gotta boot out. I gotta go shoot a video for History of Pirates. I wanted to pop in just because I thought this was such a great conversation. I had to be a part of it. Muslims and Christians, we've been fighting for I don't know, 5,000 years, something like that.
At least why am I so big?
5,000, somewhere around 5,000 years. I don't know. We've been spilling each other's blood for way too long, and it depends on where you're from and who you're brung up by. Same thing with Christians, same thing with Muslims, what you believe in, how you want to approach your religion. I am 100% just for peace. That's my shit. So anybody who's not for peace, I'm gonna smack you up. I'm willing to fight for you. If you're not for peace, I will do whatever I have to do. I'm willing to don the shields that my ancestors did, to get the job done if we have to. But I'm for peace.
So X-Men, if you like hip hop and good music, definitely go look up LA Meek.
So send me some links. I want to check it out. I am always down every time. So I've got these. I have my pre-rolls for like gaming streams and stuff like that. If you got something fucking cool, I will absolutely throw that on my pre-stream, and I'll throw a little nice little neon credit. Be like, LA Meek provided this music, and make sure that everybody sees it.
That'll be lit. That'll be lit.
Good,
Hook them up. Hook them up, Alex.
Send me some links.
I'll send you his Spotify, and then if you like anything, let me know, and we'll get you a file.
All right, let's do it.
Cool.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on. Everybody, have a good night.
You too. Have fun. So I was X-Wing Meek. X-Wing's fucking awesome.
Do you want to bring this up? They don't have rabies, but the koalas have chlamydia.
That's always weird that I found.
That's probably how it got over here.
Who's fucking? I mean, I'm not going to ask who's fucking a koala. That's not a question that I want to know.
Kamala.
Honestly, not Kamala.
Stop. Okay. Let's keep going. Assassin's Creed Shadows early access.
Going after that.
Definitely canceled, says new Ubisoft post. And there's a lot in this. It was posted to Ubisoft's Discord, which I find that hilarious. I look at Discord as something terribly degenerate. And so whenever actual news happens on there, I'm always just skeeved out by it. Yeah, it annoys me. But the release date's on its way after being pushed back. And in the Discord, they came out and announced there's no early access for AC Shadows anymore, says Real Dude, a Ubisoft community developer who has been posting in the Assassin's Creed Discord, official Discord since at least 2019. ACCH Collector's Edition will now be released on February 14, 2025, alongside the main game. The digital content has been updated. The ACSH Season Pass has been canceled. So another huge hit to Assassin's Creed Shadows, to Ubisoft. This shit's embarrassing, dude. It is just fucking embarrassing for Ubisoft. Honestly, I'm waiting for them to get bought out in some aspect because they're not surviving, obviously.
Oh, I think they're going to. I think they're going to, and I think I don't
even think the location in France is over with the strike. I don't even know if it is. I haven't heard.
I haven't seen anything be over. Yeah. So Meek, how much video?
Yes, I don't know how much you know.
As far as what, the games themselves or the people who make them?
Ubisoft, the Assassin's Creed Shadows stuff and everything.
So I'll say this, man. As far as Assassin's Creed, I've devoted my life to Assassin's Creed. I've played every Assassin's Creed made, even the one that was on PSP.
Wow.
And yeah, way back.
and I'm actually currently replaying Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Assassin's Creed. I'm not too familiar with the ongoings of Ubisoft, but I do think Assassin's Creed is one of the greatest game franchises to have been made.
Interesting. Are you excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows? Or did you even know it was coming out before?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm excited, but the more that I learn about it, the less excited I become.
So have you heard about the controversy that's going on with the lead character, Yasuke and everything?
Yeah.
like that?
So
Yasuke's correct.
Yep,
yeah.
Yasuke.
So I don't like that. I mean, I like that you could choose between characters, but I don't like that choice determines what kind of experience you're about to have. You know what I mean?
Did you see the controversy with the fact that they're passing him off as a black samurai when there is basically very little notes of him being a samurai and more of a retainer? And that I think it's less about the fact that
Instead of giving Japan an actual Japanese,
number one, they didn't give
character,
Japan a Japanese dude. He's just hacking down Asians. And number two, I think it's less about the fact that he's a black samurai, more about the fact that Assassin's Creed pushes we're historically accurate until we don't want to be. And so have you seen that controversy with Yasuke?
I haven't seen it, but I do have thoughts on it.
What are your thoughts? Let's hear it.
So while there is no real proof of Yasuke being a samurai, right? There's only real stories of him arriving as a slave and everyone being surprised that he was black. They thought he was dirty. Things like that.
Wild, the stories about Yasuke, and it was kind of touched on in the Netflix anime, which was actually pretty fucking good. The Yasuke Netflix.
Yeah, I what I didn't like about it was that it was so short. So
it was quick.
Yeah, I liked it. But understanding, games and stuff, there's really not much more that you could do with that character other than make him, unless you're going to make him like a savage slave, which is kind of offensive.
It is kind of, see, for me, I think if you wanted to include Yasuke, I think you could have included him. But instead of making him a main character, like I think a lot of people, I know Japan's pissed that like you're giving us some things
fucking
in Japan without giving us a Japanese character like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of historical Japanese samurai they could have used and things like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would have been better if they wanted to include him since he was Yamamoto's retainer, right? Have him do a mission with you. Have him give you a mission where Yasuke is included because as a retainer, you are trained in weaponry. You're there to defend. Right? That is your job. You are defending that individual to your death. And I feel like where they really dropped the ball is they've sworn to the grave that this is historically accurate. They found some guy who's a fucking fraud of a historian to say, no, this is historically accurate. Where instead, what they could have just said too is like, hey, we knew he wasn't a samurai. He was a retainer. But for the purpose of the story, we are making him a samurai. And I think that would have just gone over so much well. You would have people still like that's dumb and shit like that. But at least it would have been like they're not lying to you because they know they're lying. And I think that's the big part that pisses people off about it.
Well, one thing that I have to say about it is that while, the gaming community is wonderful, we can't be mad that we're not getting historically accurate things from video games. That's what books are for. So I feel it, but at the same time, I don't understand the frustration. Just because, like me, I'm there for the fun of it. I love Assassin's Creed, and I love that they were a lot more historically accurate in their earlier games and earlier releases. But at the same time, I'm here to enjoy the game. Am I gonna freaking jump off a roof and slice some dude's neck and maybe
be awesome,
teabag him a little bit?
Yeah. I am interested because I do want to just fucking just throw a goddamn garbage
Karl Marx in one of the games, which was fucking wild. Anyway,
but I just want to throw a garbage heap.
They praised Karl Marx in one of the games. You did a mission with fucking Karl Marx. Yeah.
When?
What game was that?
I think it was like the third one. You it was Karl Marx was one of the historical people.
It might have been Brotherhood because that's
I never played that, so I don't know. But yeah, no, I do want to just dump a garbage heap of info on you after the show, just so because there's so many interesting things that have happened that you probably don't know because you're busy as shit. But real quick, I want to get to the comments, and I also think it's interesting. I don't talk to a lot of people that like Assassin's Creed anymore, so it's very interesting to talk to someone that actually plays it and enjoys it and was looking forward to Shadows. So I think that's a different take than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But real quick, Nate was late on a response, but chlamydia versus rabies would be a hell of a celebrity match. Yes.
So he was in Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Okay.
And he was working with the Fry twins.
I never played that. Mosin says, I swore to not play Ubisoft games after Far Cry 5. They failed to make convincing villains out of dramatized David Koresh character and his hick followers. I never played 5. No, that's insane because Koresh is a really good fucking character, both in real life and then you can make him in games, and it's actually not difficult. He gave you everything in real life because he was one of those guys that obviously he was like fooling people, but he also seemed like he could have actually believed every single thing he was saying and what he was saying.
I think he did believe most of it.
Well, that's the thing. But you could fall on either way. That's how like good of a character he could be in a game. You could write that so fucking well. He actually made it easy from a real life perspective. So it's wild that they can't fucking tap into that for Far Cry 5. And what a huge fall, because I love Far Cry 3. Didn't play 4 and didn't play 5, and that's insane. But X-Wing with some LA Meek.
Who we are slaps.
Who we are slaps.
Who we are.
Yeah.
Who we are. There we go.
Appreciate you, gang. It's a lot more for sure. Yeah, I actually wanted to fill you guys in, bro, since it's been such a long ass time. I think the most like crazy news to give you, bro, guess who I'm friends with, bro?
Who?
Mace Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's son.
No,
holy shit.
That's fucking sweet.
That's fucking awesome.
Oh, dude, we got to tell Colton.
Tell him that Colton wants his father fucking fired.
His father fired like the last 6 years. He's hated Tomlin.
Yo, nah, Mace be talking shit about his dad all the time.
That's fucking hilarious. That's incredible.
I'm cracking up, bro.
So we're boys with Brandon Scoopy Robinson, NBA insider. I gotta hook you guys up if because he goes to LA all the time to cover the Lakers. I gotta get you guys in touch. I gotta get you in touch. Dude, and Scoop does a whole bunch of everything. He's fucking he used to work for in hip hop circles and everything. So Scoop's a fucking he's awesome. I love Scoop. He's one of our pals here.
To go to something else that's pretty fucking awesome.
Let's do it.
Beetlejuice 2 dethroned Dune 2 and is now the highest grossing Warner Brothers film of 2024 domestically. This is something I didn't see coming at all. That's actually pretty insane to me because Dune 2 is huge. Yep. I saw it. I thought it was fucking great. I haven't seen Beetlejuice 2 yet. I've heard good things about it. Generally good things about it.
It's good.
Mixed. Michael Keaton knocks it out of fucking park like expected when he's playing Beetlejuice. But I've heard mixed things. But overall, it's a decent
biggest criticism I've heard is it's too many separate storylines that never actually blend, and you're just kind of following everything separately, and it doesn't feel like a cohesive story that gets. And that's
well, you're trying to fill in what 15, 20 years of time, you know.
And the thing is, Dave, what doesn't surprise me about it is Dune 1 was okay. All right, people liked it.
I never saw it, but a lot of people really fucking liked that.
Yes,
movie,
but in terms of like the big knockout of the park, it wasn't like Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, right? It wasn't that level.
Yeah, that's also a really high bar to set.
But it also wasn't Beetlejuice level, where when you bring in Beetlejuice, you are getting our whole age group wants to see that because we fucking love, plus our parents' age group, because we love the original Beetlejuice because it was so good. The fact that Michael Keaton was back, the promos he was doing were incredible. And it's like you're sitting there and more people wanted to see that than I think Dune 2.
Before I argue with you, Meek, what do you think about this?
I mean, truly, Dune 1 was ass to me.
Wow.
I didn't understand why there was such a huge hype around Zendaya in that movie. It irritated me greatly. And I didn't even give Dune 2 a chance. I told my girl I'd take her to see that, John, but I was like, hell no, we finna go watch something else. But Beetlejuice 2, banger. I like that, John, for real.
And the thing is, I believe that since our generation kind of grew up, Beetlejuice was reruns constantly on the fucking TV. Like we saw Beetlejuice was always on. And I think that just that, and again, I forget, this is just a quick aside. The thing that sucks about streaming is it kills that. The reruns. Because you used to just flick through TV and one of your favorite movies is on, you would just throw it on, you'd watch it 7 million times. Now you choose what you want. So you could choose not to watch it because nobody watches regular TV anymore, but that's just an aside.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I will say, I do think it kind of hurts Dune there because Dune is the next big sci-fi thing. That's what it's supposed to be. And that's what it seems like it's going to be. And I don't know. For me, it just seems weird that Beetlejuice 2 beat it domestically, not worldwide, but domestically. It's weird to me that was a possibility and that it actually happened.
Dune, the issue with Dune is if you read one of the books, it's a fucking Bible. It is hard to, it's a very thick and difficult read. It's very detailed. There's a lot going on. You get a ton of politics throughout the whole thing.
A lot of good shit in there. A lot of good quotes.
Fantastic.
Fear is the mind. Dude, that whole fucking
Dune is really good. I read the first one. I want to read the rest. But parsing that and turning that into coherent movies has to be really hard because you're going to leave out a bunch of prevalent shit. So it can't be easy. I got to say that.
I think a part of why it did so well too is that Beetlejuice was marketed to an audience who likes to go to the theater, whereas Dune was marketed to people who like to stream. So it's just a different.
It's a good point.
Buying power being introduced, but not to take anything away from the quality of the movie because Beetlejuice 2 was just or not 2 but Beetlejuice
it's
was
Beetlejuice
great.
2. It's fucking
either way you
there actually is a Beetlejuice 2. Hold up, I just discovered this.
Here's the thing: if it's made for TV, no, there isn't.
Honestly, there you go.
If it's made for TV, no, there fucking isn't. It doesn't.
I don't know. We can't stay on that rule though because Tim Curry as Pennywise. It was a made-for-TV movie when he did that. We can't because Tim Curry as Pennywise is fucking perfect. He's awesome. We can't.
Here's the thing.
Stay with that rule.
If it gets to the cult classic level of it, sure.
Okay.
But obviously, Beetlejuice 2 is not a cult classic that we were just informed by fucking Meek that it exists. Okay. So that doesn't count.
Now look. I low-key could be wrong because I seen this shit on Instagram, and Instagram be just lying.
Oh, no.
It's on the internet. It's true.
Instagram's always true. What are you talking about, dude?
Instagram does get you with those ads to buy shit, though.
For sure.
Your ads are fucking perfect. I will give them that.
Worst. They are the absolute fucking worst.
So, moving on to another sequel.
Is this okay if I smoke on stream?
I don't give a fuck what you do.
Okay.
YouTube likes it. So, another sequel. Gladiator 2 is coming out soon, and I don't really care about the movie, to be completely honest with you.
It looks awful.
But they
released
for this their popcorn bucket, and so it is a Coliseum. This Coliseum has a popcorn bucket, and as a QR code that activates an AR gladiator battle in the popcorn bucket.
Fucking lying.
This might be the coolest fucking thing I have seen from the movies in a while.
Do they have a price point for it yet?
I haven't seen it. I can try to find it.
Because I feel like something like that's going to be like $60 because most of them are running around like 30, 35.
Yeah.
You're getting that QR code with the shit. I feel like you're going to be getting something closer to $50, $60, which I may pay because that thing's fucking cool. Sitting there eating popcorn out of that. That is very true. But eating popcorn out of that, just sitting at home, hanging out and being like, hey, kids, go get the Coliseum. Like
it has the crowd and everything. I don't think there's a price point for it.
I'd eat my fucking pasta out of that thing. You kidding me? I would make a big bowl of pasta, throw a bunch of it in it, and just be like eating like the gods.
Fuck eating out of it. That's going to be the next Beyblade arena.
No, that's fucking wild. While a gladiator battle is happening.
That would be insane.
The next Beyblade.
No, it can't be Beyblade. It's got to be the aftermarket or like off the market Beyblades where they're sharp as shit and you can cut the fuck out of your fingers if you do it wrong.
Yeah, let's not promote kids cutting their fucking fingers off like we did.
Well, kids shouldn't watch this show.
Yo, we actually had a kid take the tip of his finger off in the door at school.
That's fucking
crazy.
wild.
Oh, nigga don't got a finger. He not even 7 yet, bro. I'm like, God Damn, your life hard, boy.
Okay.
Oh man.
So, since Halloween is around the corner, we're going to be doing our spooky stuff. But right before that, I want to show this off because I thought this looked really cool.
Yeah, we'll do this real quick.
This guy dressed up as Master Chief and made his Cybertruck look like a warthog.
Yep.
That's fucking awesome.
That's the only thing that Cybertruck is good for is memeing.
It's like this is an incredible job. I love it.
It's really cool.
You guys seen us Cybertruck?
All the time.
Yes,
There's a ton
I've
in my
seen
area.
Yeah.
Yo, they look like freaking tanks.
Yes.
I've always said I feel like RoboCop's gonna fucking come out of one.
I've always said they look like a poorly rendered PS1 model of a truck.
The angles.
That's what they look like because they can't really round shit out, so they're all just straight lines on a PS1, and that's what it looks like to me.
Kind of. And here's the thing. I've said if I had the money to just get it and not care, and I'd fuck you money, I would 100% get it for the meme.
Yeah.
Like, because it really isn't. What is it, like 50, 40K? It's not that expensive. In terms of how.
I mean, if you put them things in there, tax a little bit, yeah. But get that thing looking pretty. But yeah, it's about for like 40,000, something like that.
Meek, are we seeing you in a Cybertruck next? Is that the big purchase?
Hell yeah, my shit gonna look crazy though. You already know.
I love it.
I don't be having nothing regular. Yeah, I want you guys to come out here and visit, man.
We'll have to.
If we come out there and visit, we'll bring our shit and we'll do like a show from the studio.
Yeah,
that'll be lit.
My hubby says the Americans have all the cool stuff. Yeah, and all the shitty stuff too. To be completely,
yeah,
we have a bunch
of quick tour of the studio here.
If you want, actually, real quick, we'll go into this because I do want to hit this topic. And I do
for sure. We can honestly do it afterwards.
We'll do it afterwards. Absolutely. Yeah, but so there is the Science of Scare score that has been done every year since 2020 for Money Supermarket, which I find interesting. I didn't know this was a thing. But what they do is they hook people up and they find out what is the scariest movies based on heart rate and other types of things. And they measure it all out and they give them scores to find out what's the scariest movies of the year and also of all time. That's how they're actually doing this. And it's only like 200 people, I think, 250 strong of how many people they have that they hook up and they do this process with. But they've come out with their Science of Scare 2024 of their full list. And number one on this list, this has been the winner last year as well, is Sinister with a scare score of 96. Highest spike in BPM of 131 with the average movie heart rate of 86.
Now, I'm curious. Are they taking people that aren't frequent moviegoers for scary movies? Or like, what is the criteria of the people watching it? Are they just basically averaging out a theater where it's going to be like, so what is the actual science? Like right there, you go, the science.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say.
Yeah,
it
seems
like they're calculating off of.
This just started in 2020, and before they just did it off of heart rate, and it meant to study favored heavy jump scare based movies rather than slow burn horror films. So in 2023, they introduced a scare score. It's a combination of multiple things. That's why they have the regular heart rate during the whole movie. And I believe it is probably people that are more used to scary movies. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't even know if it says it here, to be completely honest with you.
I mean, if you just pack the theater, like an average size theater of like 100 plus people, and you did an average, you'll get a pretty good sense if they're always packed, because you'll get your mix of people who like horror, who don't, who's just there to sit there and have the girl hold on to their fucking arm while they cry. Like you'll get that sense of what's going on.
But this has a bunch of movies on here, a bunch you might know: Conjuring, Hereditary, Insidious, Talk to Me, which just came out recently. They have old ones as well: Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare, Halloween. Whole bunch of different movies have landed on their top 50 of what they classify as 50 scariest, depending on
what made me sad here?
Process.
That The Fourth Kind isn't on here.
And
the reason
the Fourth Kind is a good movie.
Fourth Kind's good, and why it makes me sad is The Fourth Kind has a lot of history to me. So I'm gonna sit there and tell this real quick.
Yep.
Me and my wife now, we first started dating over in college. I wanted to take her out to a movie as like our first real date. We met in college and we like hung out a few times. I wanted to take her out to a movie as our first real date, go get dinner and watch a movie. So I asked her, "Are you cool with scary movies?" And she's like, "Yes." And she had told me before, like, I don't like aliens. Now, you take people that say that, right? Like, they're like, I don't like aliens. Like, okay, you don't like aliens. That's fine. Like, not like death defying fear. I
Yeah.
found out later my wife has a death fear of aliens. But so I asked her, knowing that she told me she doesn't like aliens, but I wanted to see the fourth kind. I like scary movies. I'm like, hey, you want to go see this movie? It just came out. And I don't know if she just said yes because we were like freshly dating and she didn't want to like make me sad or mad or anything. But she was like, yeah, sure. When I tell you, I'm pretty sure I have a prosthetic arm. It got replaced because he was fucking clinching my arm so hard with everything that had to do with that movie. And like, as I'm looking at it, I'm enjoying the movie. I think the fourth kind's a really good movie. And I'm looking, I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm okay. And like, when we get out of the movie, she's like, when I tell you I'm scared of aliens, she's like, I am really scared of aliens. I'm like, that would have been great information before you said yes.
Yeah, you have you seen Signs?
Signs is
Yeah.
So she hates Signs for the different reason. Her biggest hatred of Signs is that when the alien fucking walks through the kid's birthday party, and she's like, the alien's a dick. What's his problem? Like, so,
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and take this plate of food real quick.
yeah, and she's just like, that kid was just trying to have his birthday party, and here's this asshole walking over through his recording.
I did want to hit on the scariest films of 2024. There are 10 horror movies that came out in this year's study. The top one of 2024 is Oddity, which is a movie I've seen. I wouldn't say it's the scariest, but I watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
So it could be just relative.
I've heard good things about Terrifier 3.
Yes. And Terrifier 3, the Terrifier movies are more about gore.
Those are funny as shit.
Yeah, they're more about gore. They're more about Art the Clown killing people in the worst possible way. So it's interesting that that's up there as well. Stop motion, I haven't even heard of, so I might need to check it out. Immaculate, Long Legs, which I like as a movie in general.
Yeah.
And I can see why it's not the scariest, but I like it as a fucking movie. I think it's really good. First Omen, have not seen. Late Night with the Devil, same thing as Long Legs. I don't see it as that scary. See it as a good movie to watch. I just enjoyed it. Alien Romulus, I've heard the first half, maybe 3/4 is good, and then the ending is not so good.
Yo, here's the thing, David. Have you seen the movie yourself?
No.
So you just said like the first 3/4 is good, the ending is bad, right?
Yeah.
The ending is where all the action is.
No, hold
All
on.
the action is at the end.
So I'm a huge fan of the first Alien movie.
It's
fucking love Alien.
Great horror movie.
Yes, because of how much of a damn horror it is. And I've heard that like the first half of Alien Romulus is closer to like what the roots of what Alien is. And then some really wacky shit happens at the last of it. Yeah, that's where the action is, but it's also really fucking wacky. Like it just takes a huge left turn from where it started out at. Yeah, so I'm going to see it at one point. I'm going to see it the very legal way that I see a lot of movies. Next is Speak No Evil, which is actually an American version of a Dutch film, if I'm correct. And in fact, I was just starting to watch that the Dutch one earlier today. And then the last is
giving yourself a Dutch oven while watching it.
Whoa.
I'm going to keep going. And the final one is The Substance, which has just came out. And I've heard fantastic things about that movie.
That sounds like a porn flick.
Yeah,
so
The Substance sounds wild.
Demi Moore is naked a lot in it. But I heard it's a fantastic movie. A lot of body horror. A lot of body horror, which is comparable to The Fly, apparently.
So Dave,
I'm really
body horror to the layman's.
Yes. So it's hard, but if you ever seen The Fly, that's body horror. But body horror is if you ever see someone that has that's gorged out and all of a sudden their body is all misshapen for some reason, it's weirdly gross, and it's practical effects most of the time. Especially if you want like really cool body horror,
like a lot of disfiguration and things like that. Yeah.
Yes. And it's all, and someone could be splayed out, and you see it in a lot of movies. The Thing has it. A lot of older movies do a lot more body horror, but I've heard The Substance has a whole bunch of body horror in it, and I heard it's really fucking good. It's been getting a lot of praise as a movie, so I'm really interested in seeing that. Not so big on the scare list there, but that's fine with me. It doesn't need to be terrifying. I just need to have good horror.
As long as it's a good movie, and it seems like horror is making a renaissance, because for a long time horror just kind of sucked. It was all jump scares. Where now at least you're getting a use of music to set the tone and anticipation that doesn't get met. You know, the jump scare is not there, but you're still feeling terror. Like they're getting back to the core of it. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And I'm happy.
I agree with that.
I'm happy that one of the movies that was up there was Hereditary. I fucking love Hereditary. I think it's a fantastic movie. A prime example of how to make really, really good horror. The acting is knocked out of goddamn park. So I recommend that one. And there's a bunch on there that I could recommend. But
and you know, I was saying earlier, I don't think in the Insidious, The Conjuring, and The Exorcism, Emily Rose deserve to be top 10. I don't know who the fuck's watching. They're not that terrorizing. Like they're good movies, but they're not like the big scary movies.
Yeah, that's why I think that thing you brought up earlier, Alex, about like who's judging these things and who's watching these things.
Yeah, it's important.
It really matters because, come on. You know what I mean?
There should be like they should have like a control group of like they should make this more scientific, like a control group of like mixed people that like both dislike and like horror. They should make a group of people who are just like horror nerds like you, Dave, that like their heart barely moves. Then they should get a group of people that just fucking hate horror and it terrorizes them.
Why would a person that hates horror participate in that study? You have to pay them good money.
My girl hates that shit. She be scared as shit. She don't even let me put that shit on.
Hilux is still the king. That's an indestructible fucking thing, man.
Yeah, I just looked it up. I didn't even know what the Hilux was, to be completely honest with you. It is a fucking tank. I'll share it real quick.
You're gonna share the Hilux?
Yeah, I'm gonna share the Hilux. This is the Toyota Hilux.
It's
actually pretty. Looks pretty fucking nice.
But it's banned in North America.
Is it?
Yeah.
Holy shit! That's
Apparently,
amazing.
it's banned in North America. I have no idea.
love
why.
that.
I just saw an update. I saw a headline banned in North America. I was like, interesting, and not clicking.
Yeah.
But all right, Dave, is that all we have for today?
Yes, that's all we have.
This has been a blast. Meek, it's fun having you on.
Time, man. Every time.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and we'll have you. Listen, Meek, we do this all the time, so whenever you want to jump on, we're doing nightly now. So whenever you have time and you want to pop in, just let us know. If you see us live, we'll send you a link.
100. Yeah, bro. That shit would be dope, man. I love coming with you guys all the time. I know it'd be a while, just like, I'll be out here working and everything, trying to make things happen with this music stuff. But yeah, man, I gotta get tapped back into my roots. You feel me?
So once again, he's LA Meek. You can go find him on Instagram. It's on the screen there at LA Meek Official. And definitely go over there and find him. He just had his new song come out. It's called A Way Out. Yep, go there, go on Spotify, wherever you listen to music. It was on the pre-roll. So if you go all the way back to the beginning of this show, you'll be able to hear the song in full. It was there, but it's fucking awesome. Being someone who's like, you're like a little brother to me, Meek. I'm incredibly proud of the hard work that you put in. And, we've experienced it here when you're not sitting there and you're not one of the big guys. You're not making the millions. People are constantly going, why are you still doing it? Right. What's the point? You're not making a ton of money, but you know what? You're grinding and you've been as successful as anyone that I've seen. You have your own line of stuff. You're doing your own thing, the studio, all that. Like, you're making it out there and I'm proud of you, and don't fucking quit, dude. Just keep going, keep rolling, make it, man.
I appreciate you saying that, bro. That really means a lot, man. Like, I remember when I first was introduced to you by David, and you've always been somebody I've not wanted to let down, because I always felt like you truly cared. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you and your presence in my life, and the same goes for you, David, man. Love you guys.
We've had our wars with me coaching you as a fucking defensive back in football.
Hell yeah. Hey, but you got me right though, because when I went down south, it was a whole nother game. Like, for real.
It was me times 100 with the expectation.
No cap.
So once again, he's LA Meek. We will be here as always. You want to go follow us, find us at the Alex Cuesta Show.
Yep.
Watching on YouTube. If you're watching on X and Facebook, thank you for all that. Smash the like button, subscribe on YouTube, share on Facebook, like it, and then on X, repost this and do all that good stuff. But
thank you, Debbie.
Debbie, we appreciate it. And yeah,
anytime you want to pop in.
Yes.
Yeah, are we able to talk on here after the show?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll talk on after the show. But yep, once again, everyone, we appreciate you all for hanging out. It's been 2 hours. It's been 2 hours of fun. We will be back tomorrow.